Hello, Scruff welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And we're going to take a look at some Russian successes, critical successes in Kursk, but also at some Ukrainian successes at Pokrovsk. And those successes at Pokrovsk, that is that Pishchane has been liberated, and that puts Ukraine in an exceptional position to cut off and surround a significant amount of Russian forces. Right. So before taking a look at where, how, and when Ukraine has made some advances, we need to highlight that Russia is also making gains. If we zoom in here on Dvorichna Zabadne, if we go back a couple of days, as you can see here, they're crossing the river and they're pushing south from Zapadne towards Kupiansk, right? 31st of January, and here and then we move on to the 10th of February, right? So they are making advances here, and same thing goes for here, Pokrovsk, south of Pokrovsk. If we go back a couple of days, as you can see here, 26th of January and forward, they are still advancing. So it's not like Russia is not moving forward and Ukraine has turned this thing around. That's not what's going on. What is happening is that Ukraine has been able to reclaim some territory at certain locations. But before we move on to what Ukraine is doing, I want to highlight this. Russia has been pushing here towards this road here. There's an intersection here east of Pokrovsk. And the fear is that they will now push in north or continue northward to the river here and push in north of Pokrovsk and cutting more supply lines. I just want to highlight what they've been able to achieve. Zoom in here, they're right on that large intersection, and they started this push right on New Year's. So this is let's see here. This is the 31st of December, and not much has been happening before that. Well, take a look. Okay, so on the 28th. Okay, so right around New Year's, they started pushing. So outskirts of Vozdivshenka, and then now on the 10th, 12th of February, they are up here. Right, let's see how far they've gotten in this amount of time from here, roughly, to here. That is 5.4 kilometers, 5.5 kilometers, and they've been at it for 2 months, basically. That's amazing. 2 months, 5.5 kilometers. And the distance, wrong one. Let's see here, today, present day, this is where they are now, 2.5 months later, or 2 months later, and where do they want to go next? From here to here, that's 10 kilometers, so, you got another 2 months, or if they want to move up, not like that, but if they want to move from here to here and cut a bunch of supply lines, that's 15 kilometers. It's gonna take them time. If this distance here took them 2 months, this distance, 3-4 months, and here, yeah, it's gonna be the same thing as south of Pokrovsk, where it's taken them forever to claim this territory here, 5 or 6 months to push out this way. It's gonna be the same thing here, more than likely, judging by their initial pushes here from Vozdivshenka towards this intersection. I just want to highlight that. So we're moving up to Kursk, where of course Ukraine has made this big push down here. Haven't made any further gains, so it appears as if they're now solidifying their hold and fortifying what they've gained, preparing for Russian countermeasures. And also, they have also managed to push Russia back up here, away from the Malaya Lochnia River, securing the villages on the western side of that river. and in so doing securing this bridge as well. And Russia has been forced back to the village of Kurakhove. So you have some successes here. Definitely Ukraine is on a bit of a roll, but it's not like Russia is sitting on their ass doing nothing. A couple of days ago we talked about how Russia secured these windbreaks, or this river here, the creek with all the vegetation surrounding it. And then we also saw a huge artillery barrage aimed at Sverdlikovo, and I said that probably indicates that Russia will make a move on Sverdlikovo soon. And well, here we are. Russia did make a move. They suppressed the Ukrainians with this big artillery barrage, as you should. And then they made a large push at speed along this road here. Made it through minefields, I assume. Why wouldn't Ukraine mine these roads? Somehow Russia made it past eventual minefields and more than likely secured this patch of woods. The question is now, what's going on in the rest of town? It appears as if this part of town is still in Ukrainian control. No indication that Russia's made it across the Lochnia River. You have a couple of bridges here, and then here's one, and you have another one down here. But we have geolocated Russian presence all over the northern parts, at the bridge, up here in the north here, and also over here. So Russia has pushed in to Sverdlikovo. The question is, can it maintain a foothold, or will Ukraine be able to push them out? We will have to wait and see. This is super crucial. This move basically could make this push and this push moot. Because what happens is, if Russia secures Sverdlikovo, this is the most important battle at the moment in Kursk. If they secure this town and the bridges, they can begin operations along this road across these fields. Going to be difficult, but they can start those to try and reach this valley with the creeks and lakes and what have you, and then move along the creek here southward, the valley southward, to reach this highway. I've talked about this before. The main highway, the main supply route leading in from Ukraine to Sudzha. If Russia cuts this one, the entire operation is over. This is where Ukraine can bring in all the logistics, all the manpower they need to continue fighting. If Russia can cut this highway, it's all over. The entire Kursk operation is over. So if they can grab Sverdlikovo and get across the river and begin pushing towards the valleys and lakes here, they can then move southward here and threaten this road. They can also move south along the Lochnia River here into Ukraine, crossing into Ukraine, follow the river and the valley south along these villages, and do the same down here within Ukraine. Either way, if Russia moves this way or comes down this way, if they reach the highway, the Kursk operation is over. Ukraine has some options here. I mean, take a look. Dirt roads here leading into Russia. You have another one. Where is it? Yeah, you can see the types of roads they can utilize. But I mean, imagine moving hundreds of trucks, hundreds of armored vehicles through these muddy roads, right? I mean, logistics will slow down, if not break down. You may be able to move things into Gornal. Same thing, though. It's even if they can supply the southern part of Kursk, the northern part will be lost if Russia cuts this vital supply line right here. So this battle is super crucial, and Russia's move across the fields here and establishing a presence here is far more important than what Ukraine made over here. This move can undo Ukrainian successes here and their successes up here. So we need to keep an eye on this, and hopefully Ukraine can push Russia out and secure the town once more. And now down to Pokrovsk, where we have some interesting news. Ukraine has secured part of the village here of Dashenske and some wooded areas to the north of it. We also see here at Kotlyne how Ukraine has pushed into this factory here, and they have also managed to push down the windbreaks here, and they are contesting parts of the town, and we have geolocated Ukrainians in this part of town. We have seen them push out this way, and we also have had Ukrainian infantry just a couple of days ago fighting in this area. And it's actually the 155th Mechanized Brigade, famously trained in France and equipped by France, that are holding this part here, and they are the ones pushing in, and it was their infantry that was fighting over here. So the 155th, that the Vatniks like to ridicule because they had some issues with deserters, they are holding the line and pushing back into Kotlyne and potentially forcing Russia out of Kotlyne. So super interesting. And then we move down to what is really interesting, of course, and that is Pishchane, and I have marked it as completely in Ukrainian control because Russia is shelling the entirety of the town, more or less, and we also have geolocated images, video of Ukrainian forces taking Russian POWs here in the center of town. So this town is more or less under Ukrainian control. There might be pockets of resistance here and there, but Russia is shelling it, the entirety of it, and Ukraine is taking POWs here and there all over the place. So Pishchane is more than likely completely in Ukrainian control. And that puts Ukraine 2 kilometers away from the dam, or the top of the dam here. Or a kilometer from the top of the dam and 2 kilometers from the dam itself. And like we've pointed out before, this is where Russia can move in troops. Let's see here if we can highlight, if we can get some blue going here. This is the Solona River right here, and here you have the dam and waterways coming down. You have waterways here as well, and this is the Solona River, a big obstacle. If we zoom in, I mean, you can take a look at this. It's wide, it's marshy, bogs. You're not going to drive across here with trucks. Where you have roads is here. So, if Russia wants to supply this part of the battlefield here, you have this road going up here to the dam. Otherwise, you have to deal with the Solona River. And Ukraine is now 2 kilometers away from reaching this crucial choke point. You can see how steep this valley is here right next to the dam. I mean, take a look here. You can see how it just goes straight down into the valley where you have the river below the dam. So Ukraine can now actually begin operations pushing for this dam, and if that happens, all of this here gets isolated, and Russia can barely support it. There is one bridge. Let's see if we can find it here. But then you need to get across this island. It's probably gonna be marshy as hell, just like the rest of the area here around the river. And to reach the island from the south, I think this is where you need to get across. As you can see, there's not any big roads or pathways leading to that. So good. I mean, I guess they're gonna have to rely on those donkeys to get across here. So if Ukraine can push down here to this dam right here, then all of this gets isolated and they get trapped and will be without supplies and without reinforcements. It's going to be a massive victory if Ukraine can push out of Pishchane down to the dam and trap all of the Russians up here. It's going to be a huge victory. and a massive morale boost for Ukraine if they pull that off. So, using deep state here, basically you have a river here, right? And then you have waterways here, and here's the dam coming down like this, where you have a road is like so, and it goes up to Vovkove, right? And from Vovkove, Russia can then, damn it, let's do that all over again. So here's the river, and here's the dam, and here's that road to Vovkove, and it is from Vovkove that Russia can move troops all over the place and supplies and what have you. And if Ukraine can just push down from Pishchane down here and cut that dam off, then it is all of this that will be isolated, and Ukraine can begin mop-up operations in this area as Russia runs out of ammunition, runs out of food and water, medical supplies, and eventually they will run out of fuel and they will run out of manpower. And it's going to be a huge victory for Ukraine. And that's all I have for you this time around. I hope you found it interesting. And as always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.